And joining us now live is financial advisor Mark Hall to talk to us about how we can have productive conversations with our family members about finances. And thanks so much for being here with us.
Hey there, good morning.
Always a pleasure.
Good.
Okay, so why is this topic so important?
Okay, well, I think as I see clients coming into my office, a lot of times I'm the first one they really talk to about their finances. If you think about it, you don't really talk to your parents, you don't talk to your kids as you're getting older about things, and it can be a very awkward conversation. You can kind of almost get upset sometimes.
Sensitive subject for some.
It is, and some people are like, hey, that's your business. But my company, Ameriprise Financial, did what they called a family wealth checkup study to describe what this experience was like and to follow people who did this. And what they actually found out was people who had the conversation actually found it very straightforward and very easy to have, and that it was very beneficial to the family. And we talked about today being National Siblings Day. It's important. If you're brothers and sisters and you've got parents who are aging, you may have responsibilities later on as your parents get maybe going to a long-term care situation or estate planning things that you really have to work together on.
Absolutely. So specifically, let's go over that. What are some of the main topics that you should include in that conversation?
Okay, and that's definitely one of them. And what happens is a lot of times is something will happen where maybe a parent gets sick or a parent passes away, and that forces the situation that we haven't gotten to yet. And so what you'll do is you'll really talk about your current finances, and that's about it. When really we're leaving off talks like, what about the life insurance they may have, the long-term care insurance, what's going to happen if they get sick, who's going to help take care of them, where might they need to go. Those are really important things to bring up.
You're so right about that, certainly. So how do you get into this conversation? I mean, this is, as we've mentioned, kind of a sensitive subject for some to talk about. So how do you break the ice?
Yeah, like I said before, don't wait for a tragedy to happen. Everybody's in a bad place at that point. That's not a good time to be having these conversations. Look for maybe a good thing to happen with a family. Maybe a wedding or a graduation can maybe spur the conversation sometimes. Another thing is just set an agenda. I try to do this with all my clients with the conversations that I have. Set an agenda. Be realistic about what you're going to accomplish and what you need to talk about. And really, at that point too, make sure that you may take 2 or 3 different times to get together to talk about some of these complex issues. Brothers and sisters, y'all were talking a little bit earlier about brothers and sisters and relationships that you have growing up. You got to leave some of that stuff outside the door. You may have some conflicts. I'm a big Garth Brooks fan. Back in the 90s, he had a song that was never released, but it was called "We Bury the Hatchet, but Leave the Handle Sticking Out." That's not good.
Never heard that one.
You got to have the forgiveness. You got to keep on so you can have those conversations. And then I'm sure your daughter's getting older. My oldest daughter is 16 now.
No, can't believe they're that old.
If you remember a few years ago, you probably told them at some point, hey, remember you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We learn when we listen. It's the same thing as adults. You may hear somebody else's point of view. If there's some conflicting points of view, you may learn something. You may find something. If nothing else, you've got a more respectful conversation happening.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, it's never too young, or early, I should say, to start with your youngsters to talk to them about how to be responsible with money.
There's not, and there's all kind of different ways to do it, whether it be through chores and just starting to learn how you're earning some money over time, just to instill that into folks. There's a lot of that needs to be done these days, and you know that as well as I do. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so final thoughts this morning.
Listen, if these are things that are on your mind and you just don't know how to get that conversation started, that's what your financial advisor is for sometimes, is to help to make sure that everybody, maybe doing a comprehensive planning for your family, to make sure that everybody's interests are taken care of, that everybody's being heard there. So feel free to call me. You see the number on the screen, 699-3620, 699-3620 with Eris Financial Group, and I'll be happy to kind of help talk you through some things and see if there's some way we can help out.
All right, friend, good to see you again this morning. Thanks so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
And as always, if you'd like to get in touch with Mark, we're going to put all of his full details and information on our website at dathanfirst.com, and stay with us. Wake Up Wiregrass continues after these messages.